concept. Now coming to few of the reflexes. For example, Herring-Brew inflation reflex. I told you just now that lung inflation, overinflation will inhibit further inflation. So overinflation, lung inflation will be inhibited, and the end organ will be airway smooth muscles, and the receptor type will be vagus nerve. I told you it is the vagus nerve. Now second is Herring-Brew deflation. Again the same thing. Inflation will inhibit inflation, it will cause deflation. Deflation will inhibit further deflation, it will cause inflation. So Herring-Brew inflation and deflation reflex is by vagus nerve. Then reflex can be bronchodilation, tachycardia, hyperapnea, cough, depending on various situation. What is the stimulus for that? Lung hyperinflation. End organ is airway epithelial cell, and the receptor type is again myelinated vagal rapid errating receptor. It is called as irritant receptor. So when there is some irritant, it can cause cough, hyperapnea, tachycardia and bronchodilation. Okay. Next is your mucus secretion. So when there is some exogenous or endogenous agent, you are allergic to something, it can cause mucus secretion. And again, when you are allergic, it will release histamine and cause bronchoconstriction. That is why we give antihistaminics. We give antihistaminics so that you can cause bronchodilation. Then Herring-Brew deflation reflex, again it is stimulated by prostaglandins. Now very important, your J reflex, J receptor is very important. It was discovered by Dr. Avtar Singh Paintal. He was from KGMC Lucknow. I am from same college. I am proud of him. He does not named Paintal reflex. He simply said J reflex. So J stand for juxtapulmonary capillary reflex. J stand for juxta means near to the pulmonary capillary. So juxtapulmonary capillary reflex, and end organ is interstitial space. If there is some fluid in that, pulmonary circulation, it is close to circulation and close to bronchial. So how it is stimulated? It can be stimulated by capsaicin, phenylbiguanide, histamine, bradykinin, serotonin or prostaglandin. And what is the response? These are the response: apnea followed by tachypnea, bronchoconstriction, bradycardia, hypotension and mucus secretion. So this is a very high yield table. Please note down with your own handwriting and try to remember about these reflexes: Herring-Brew inflation, Herring-Brew deflation, cough reflex, exogenous endogenous reflex, J receptor. So all these are very important for your MCQ also, and also for your Viva as well as for short notes. Now altered breathing patterns. See, whenever there is, have you heard about Biot breathing? Have you heard about Cheyne-Stokes breathing? First I will discuss, then I will show you. Biot breathing and Cheyne-Stokes breathing, they are two different types of breathing and how they are different. Biot breathing, also called as ataxic breathing, both are same. Either you can say Biot breathing or you can say ataxic breathing, is a type of periodic breathing showing alternate period of respiratory activity and apnea. It differs from Cheyne-Stokes breathing in following aspect. So what are the aspect? Number one, it occurs at irregular interval. Which breathing? Biot breathing. There is no waxing or waning of tidal volume during the period of respiratory activity, and Biot breathing can never occur physiologically. See, this is your Biot breathing. It is not at the regular interval. You can see interval will decrease or increase. Is this clear? And there is no waxing or waning. But here you can see apnea is there and it will increase and then it will decrease. Then apnea is there. So why it is increasing? Because when there is apnea, carbon dioxide pressure will increase. And I will discuss just after that about the chemical control of respiration. In that I will discuss whenever there is increase in PCO2, there is increase in the respiratory rate. So when there is apnea because of Cheyne-Stokes breathing, it will start hyperapnea. Okay, then again CO2 will become less because of hyperapnea. Then again because of apnea, CO2 will increase, it will become less. and opposite will happen in O2. If there is a apnea, oxygen will decrease. Hyperapnea, it will increase. So like that, this is the physiological basis of Cheyne-Stokes breathing, and this is for Biot breathing. Is this clear? And what are the causes of Biot breathing? Biot breathing indicates a disruption of normal medullary rhythmics of respiration. Medulla is what? It is a pacemaker. So there is some problem in the medulla, in some problem in the generation of respiration. It may occur when medulla is involved in any disorder like meningitis, head injury, medullary compression like pontine, this cerebropontine herniation, or central medullary lesions are the most common cause of Biot breathing. It is a rare in cerebral ischemia which has to be bilaterally to infarct the central medulla. So this is about Biot breathing and Cheyne-Stokes breathing. Why I am telling you these things? Because these are very important clinically, and nowadays these types of questions are coming in your MBBS professional examination. Now, rapid and shallow breathing, you know that it is rapid and shallow breathing, very rapid and very shallow. It is hyperventilation. It is apneustic breathing. I have shown you in the lesion. It is a normal breathing. So there are different patterns of the breathing you can see here. Now coming to the chemical control of respiration. Till now we have discussed about the neural control. Chemical control of respiration can be of two types. One is central, other is peripheral. So first I will discuss peripheral chemoreceptors, then we will discuss the central chemoreceptors. Number one, there are two types of peripheral chemoreceptors. Number one is carotid body and number two is aortic body. So there are two chemoreceptors, peripheral chemoreceptors. Chemoreceptors are of two types. Don't forget. One is peripheral, other is central. I am talking right now about peripheral chemoreceptor. So peripheral chemoreceptors are again of two types. It is not sinus. Sinus are baroreceptors. Don't forget this. Okay, so aortic body and carotid body, and these are having a sensor cell that is called as glomus cell. The glomus cell is the sensor which is present in carotid body, which is present in aortic body, and this glomus cell is having oxygen sensitive potassium channel. So whenever there is less oxygen, whenever there is hypoxia, they will be stimulated. So what are the stimulus that are going to stimulate peripheral chemoreceptor? Answer is decrease oxygen, hypoxia, hypercapnia, or acidosis, increase photon ion. So whenever there is acidosis, hypercapnia or hypoxia, they are going to cause hyperventilation. The response is increased respiratory rate. And who is doing this? Peripheral chemoreceptors. Now coming to central chemoreceptors. First important information. What will they ask you? They will ask you where it is present. It is present in the medulla, doctor. That is why they are also called as medullary chemoreceptors. Medullary chemoreceptors. And there are two different types of question. First question is that who is the direct stimulator? Answer will be proton ion. Who is the indirect stimulator? Answer will be increase in carbon dioxide. So what does this mean? Now I will ask you, if there is increased proton in the blood, if there is acidosis, can you stimulate central chemoreceptor? Yes or no? Answer will be no. Why? Because proton is not permeable to blood-brain barrier. To blood-brain barrier, it is not permeable. So even during acidosis, proton is not going to stimulate central chemoreceptor. What is the answer? Because it cannot cross blood-brain barrier. Blood-brain barrier. So why I am telling you that direct stimulator is proton? Now I will tell you the answer. When there is increase in the carbon dioxide in the blood, when there is hypercapnia, carbon dioxide is freely permeable to blood-brain barrier. It will go in the blood-brain barrier and it will combine with water to form H2CO3, and this H2CO3 will be broken into bicarbonate and proton, and this proton is going to directly stimulate central chemoreceptor. Am I clear? So in one hand, I am telling you that proton are the most important stimulator of central chemoreceptor. On other hand, I am telling you that protons in the blood are not going to stimulate. Why? Because protons are not permeable in the blood-brain barrier. So what will cause increase in what will cause stimulation of central chemoreceptor? Answer is carbon dioxide. So it is carbon dioxide that is going to stimulate central chemoreceptor because it is permeable to blood-brain barrier, and when it goes inside it converts into bicarbonate and proton, and this proton is the direct stimulator of medullary chemoreceptor. I hope this concept is clear. This concept is very, very important. So whenever there is increase in carbon dioxide, respiratory rate will increase. When there is decrease in carbon dioxide, respiratory rate will decrease.